Hi everyone, and welcome to the Soul Illumination Reading for the sign of Cancer. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at in today's reading, Cancer. We're going to be looking at what your soul would most like to illuminate for you at this time. So we're going to start by pulling a card here to take a look at the energy you're currently sitting with. Then we'll look at what Spirit or your soul is asking to highlight for you. And then we'll look at a block or a challenge around that theme, advice from Spirit as to how to overcome that block or challenge, and then a level of abundance or spiritual growth that wants to come in for you on the other side of that. Okay, so interesting, Cancer here. Now, I also want to preface this is a general reading, so please only take what resonates. I do often find too that sometimes these readings can bring up things or situations that have happened in the past and they are being brought up again now for you to either bring a lesson forward or to address something from that time period that may be occurring currently in your life. So let's go ahead and see here. So Cancer, we have a card here that is actually unique to this Rider-Waite Tarot Smith deck that I use. And it is actually, when you look at the description in the box, the book that comes with this deck, this is actually the artist who did the illustrations for this deck. This was an illustration she did for a children's book that she was also doing illustrations for. And in this, from having worked so long with this deck, there's a sense when this card comes up of legacy, of family, generation, things that kind of carry on over generations. There's also a sense too of coming in with what is the legacy you want to lead? What is the family dynamic you hope to grow into? And, you know, it's very similar to the 10 of Pentacles card, I feel, but it takes it to that more personal, emotional-based place, where the 10 of Pentacles is really kind of the legacy that we want to achieve in the physical. It's the home we want, the money we want, the legacy of the things we leave behind, inheritances, things along that line. But this is more about the feeling associated with that. In our old age, looking back at our life, what do we want to see and see ourselves having accomplished? And is also looking at perhaps the gifts you want to give on to future generations, as well as what do you want your home life to feel like as you, again, kind of continue forward. And with the Four of Swords, there's definitely the energy here of contemplation around that very topic. The Four of Swords is a card of, it can be a card of meditation, it can be a card of where you stop and really give yourself that time to rest and to review and to also look at any wounding that might be coming up around this theme for yourself. You know, this can be where you might be reevaluating your future self, and it could be the realization that, you know, I really do want to have a spouse, and I want to have kids, and I want to have, you know, multiple generations like this down the line. And you might be realizing that maybe up to this point, you hadn't really been acknowledging that for yourself. Maybe you've been really focused on career or focused on, you know, traveling the world, focused on hobbies, things like that. And suddenly you're realizing, you know, the reason why I never really focused on maybe this kind of emotional yearning I have for a future vision for myself was because I watched my parents get divorced, and so I kind of just pushed that scenario out of my frame of existence for a while because I wasn't able to emotionally deal with that. Or it could be where you might have gone through a very difficult breakup or a relationship change, and so you said, you know, I can't even go there for myself. And maybe this can actually be like where you're realizing you've talked yourself out of something, and you said, maybe that's just not meant for me. And what's beautiful is with the Four of Swords, you can see there's one sword. The Three of Swords represents the wounds, those difficult times from the past or the times when you told yourself you weren't capable of something. And then the one sword of truth is what this individual eventually, he gets up from his repose and he takes his sword of truth and he realizes, no, this is my truth. With all the pain aside, this is what this is what I want to achieve for myself. So you're in a beautiful place of, I feel like, self-realization, of really seeing where you want to put your energy towards. And for many of you, it is the home. Now, Cancer, your sign actually rules in the Zodiac wheel. You rule the 4th house, which is the house of home and family and security as well. So there also could be themes coming up for you as you review this as to maybe how you want to create a secure environment for your family or your future family. So there's a sense here of really getting focused on that. Now, with the 8 of Pentacles, this is beautiful energy. This is what your soul is highlighting for you. There's a spotlight on the 8 of Pentacles. And what does the 8 of Pentacles represent? It represents dedicated, focused, hard work. This is the individual who says, I'm going to work through the night to get it right. I'm going to save. I'm going to practice. I'm going to finish the last line of my thesis. Whatever it is, there's a sense here of putting your head down and doing the work. And it's almost like I can see here it's like your heart has made a decision, but it has come through the rational, logical plane of your experience as well, because the swords represent our thoughts and our words and things along that line. So there's a sense here of, through your thoughts, actually coming down into your emotional core as to the experience you want to have for your family or around security with a future vision. And it's almost like that's coming forward and saying, okay, I'm going to get to work. I'm going to make this happen. And you have the Empress as your main underlying energy here, undercut by the Page of Cups and the 8 of Swords. So there's a sense here of quick movement. Now, the Empress is I feel like, one of the most beneficial cards to come out when we are looking to grow something, when we are looking to actually perfect something. The 8 of Pentacles can be someone who is honing their skill set, perfecting a skill set. And with the Empress, she really brings in the energy of creativity, of holding space for what you want to give birth to, whether that's a creative project, whether that literally is a child you want to give birth to, or just an experience in the future. There's a sense when these two cards line up of what can't you create for yourself. Now, with the 8 of Wands being directly underneath that, this is fast forward movement. This is a lot of things going on. It can also be a lot of communication as well. Now, the Page of Cups is a card of what I like to see as the inner child, and it could also be a child in your life. So this could be something where you got pregnant, you had a child, all of a sudden things got crazy. All these things started coming around you. This could be like where all of a sudden you had to shift your whole life around. And that's what's causing, and it could also be other things too, where, like, for instance, I can say from personal experience of having a child myself. Once you have a child, it puts what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. The 8 of Wands, when they come in, this could be like having a really busy week or having a really busy year, or where there's a lot of changes happening. And there's a sense of, at the heart of this, the Page of Cups is you. This is your inner child, or possibly representing a child in your experience. And there's a realization when we either get back in touch with our own inner child, which is that part of ourselves that we really want to honor, that pure emotional state of what we love and wanting to kind of live from that place and support that version of ourselves, or whether this is a child where you feel the same way, with the love and the support. There's a sense of really looking at all the things we do on our day-to-day basis and possibly clearing out some of that chaos, when we're just kind of like, oh my gosh, all this stuff I have to do. I have to go to work. I have to, pay the bills. I have to take so-and-so to soccer practice. And then I have to, whatever it is. There's a sense here of kind of almost pulling yourself away from all of what's been happening around you in your life and really getting clear as to what the priority is. And for many of you, that is home, family, and security, and possibly a future home and family and security that you'd like to bring in for yourself. But again, the energy is incredibly positive here, Cancer. There's a sense of really putting your head down, doing the work, and laying that foundation for this future vision you have for yourself. Let's see, what else is coming in here? Now, for some of you, depending on where you are in your current life experience, this could actually be where someone is literally communicating that they're pregnant, like overnight. It's like here I am. I'm, I know it all happened kind of fast, but yep, I'm pregnant. So very, very interesting. So this could be someone in your life experience too. If you're on the other side of this, and let's say you're the grandparent, this could actually be where you're getting news from your son or daughter that they're pregnant, and suddenly now you're you're looking back and saying, oh my gosh, my family is expanding, the generational line is expanding, which could also be beautiful. Maybe now you're working towards maybe expanding your experience to be able to now include these new additions in your family. Okay, so let's see here. We have Queen of Wands and we have the World. Now the Queen of Wands is your main point of challenge. And the Queen of Wands is a wonderful energy. It is the energy of someone who leads from what they're passionate about, but does so in a way where they are simply just showing up. And what does that mean? That means that no matter where they go or what they're doing, they're showing up as their biggest, boldest self. And there's a kind of an unapologetic quality to the Queen of Wands. She could actually kind of represent the witch archetype as well in the tarot, where she really can come across as almost magical because she's continually drawing people and events towards her, attracting them because of how she shows up so unapologetically or so authentically. Now, with the World coming in right after that, it seems to be here for many of you, the closeout of a major life cycle. The World speaks to the closing of a major life cycle, where we get a chance to finally kind of take a breather and say, whew, that was quite a cycle. Now we get to celebrate for how far we've come and what we've learned and what we've accomplished in that cycle. And then you have the Fool at the heart of your reading right here, which is the fresh start. The Fool is the zero. It is the concept of zero in the tarot, and it really is wiping that slate clean and taking the leap with full faith into the new. And I think for many of you, you might have there might be the sense of having to leave a part of yourself behind with the Queen of Wands. You might be feeling like, if I go towards this new vision for myself that is really focused on home and family, that I might have to leave behind, the Queen of Wands could be like the party girl, the one who's always single and gets to, go dressed up and, goes out for a night on the town. It could also be too, where for some of you, there might be a fear of actually stepping up into your brightest power or into your boldest power. So coming after the Fool, we have the Seven of Cups and the Eight of Wands. So here's that Eight of Wands again, that fast forward momentum. And the Seven of Cups is asking you, can you get into the energy of being curious about what the world holds anew for you? The Seven of Cups is the energy of options, opportunity, new areas and new ways to experience emotional fulfillment. And with the Eight of Wands, there's that sense of jumping into the flow, of saying, okay, the energy is in my favor. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm going to use it in my favor. Instead of maybe kind of like, this can be sometimes like when the Eight of Wands happens, we can either look at it two ways. We can look at it as all these things are happening at one time and I don't know what to do and I'm juggling and I'm exhausted and I just can't, take one more change or I can't take one more point of action. Or you can say, you know what? Life is moving. Things are happening. There's opportunity out there. And if I can kind of give this cycle the wrap up that it deserves and realize I'm moving into a fresh version of myself, into something new that is really, this time, this cycle is going to be very focused on, maybe your last cycle was really focused on career, building a business, maybe making money, maybe graduating from college, something along those lines. And now you're moving into a new cycle that is really focused on legacy, multi-generational, maybe even wealth, or home and family for the future. And there's a sense of, this is the opportunity that's coming in for you. Fast movement towards making your dreams come true, towards creation, towards even possibly for some of you who are maybe looking to get pregnant, there could be that sense of leaping into this. And yeah, there's definitely opportunity for that to happen. Now, you have strength as your secondary underlying energy, which is saying, yeah, it's going to take strength. It's difficult when we have to leave kind of one cycle behind and abruptly turn to take that leap off the cliff. This is almost like the individual in the world card here. You're being celebrated, you're taking a breather, you get a chance to sit down in that beautiful Adirondack chair at the edge of that cliff, and you're just taking in the view. And then somebody suddenly comes up and says to you, well, it's time now to stand up and leap off that cliff. And you're like, wait, what? I'm finally catching my breath. I'm finally taking that chance to breathe. And it's like, life is like, no, it's time to start that next cycle. Because there's a dream here around something, around fulfillment, that the energy is waiting for you. It's almost like as soon as you take that deep breath and you say, fine, okay, I'm trusting you, and you take that leap off the cliff, it's like a gust of wind comes and carries you very quickly to get to a place that gets you very close to here. It's very interesting how it's coming through, but it is going to take strength. It is scary. It's always scary leaping into the new, because that means that what we've gotten comfortable with, even if the past cycle was difficult, we're still leaping into the unknown. And as a human being, I feel like I myself, it's always scary to go into something new where you don't know what to expect. But the beauty of the world says that you've learned many lessons in the past cycle that can now be applied to the new cycle. And that's what gives us faith to take that leap, because we know that we are equipped to handle what comes up in the next cycle for us based on what we've learned in the last. All right, so let's take a look at this Queen of Wands. Let's see what's going on with her. I'm going to pull some clarifiers. Two of Swords. Yeah, there might be a decision here that you're not quite sure if you want to make it or not. Now, this could actually be a decision around being seen. That could be the Queen of Wands, of like how you want to show up authentically as yourself. Yeah, the Chariot and the Hermit. Interesting. So the Chariot, this is your card, Cancer. This is forward momentum. This is getting back in the driver's seat of your life, taking hold of the reins and saying, okay, got my head, my heart, my soul, my body in alignment, and we're going. It also is a card that represents getting on track to going towards the final place that feels ultimately like home for you. The Hermit is a card of introspection. It's soul-seeking energy. It's Virgo energy. So this could actually represent maybe in Virgo season, which is what we just came out of. So kind of coming into late August and into late September, you might have really been going through maybe soul-seeking around what getting back on track for you looks like, or where do you want to direct your chariot? If you're the one holding the reins, where are you going? And there's a sense here with the Two of Swords of, I can't make that decision. I don't know what I want to choose. And there's a sense here of maybe not knowing how to best show up, how to best express yourself, how to best bloom where you're planted, because you've been in a state of introspection. I mean, that's also what the Four of Swords represents as well behind there. So I think for many of you, there's been this sense of like, I don't know what I'm more in alignment now. This could be like literally someone who is now realizing, I really do want the home and family versus making money or the career path. And you're like, but how do I show up as that person now versus the person I've always been previously to this? Okay, so let's see. Yeah, there's a sense of really kind of seeing like, what is my magical powers now? And how do I really want to portray myself? Okay, so Queen of Swords. Now, as we're going through, I'm filming this in October. We just came out of the Libra new moon solar eclipse. Ooh, that's a lot of cards there. So we have the Knight of Cups. Oh, I love it. Okay, so what I was saying is we're coming out of the Libra new moon solar eclipse, and in October we have two eclipses, both with the new moon in Libra and the full moon in Taurus at the end of the month. And there's a sense here of with these eclipses, we're all being kind of forced to see something that's been hidden kind of on the subconscious level for ourselves that might be holding us back from starting something new. It can also be a revelatory month for many of us, whether it's an internal revelation that comes through or whether something external to us shocks us into a revelation around some aspect of our experience that is changing. Now, for you, Cancer, these eclipses are really affecting your career area of your chart. And so there's a sense here of really, being asked, how do you want to be seen? What changes do you want to make in your career field? Or that can even be, for those of you who are, let's say, not in the working world anymore, that could be like, how do you want to be seen in your community? How do you want to be seen as how you can be of service in some other aspect? But there is a sense of kind of being pushed out into the spotlight a little bit, Cancer. So keep that in mind. Now, with the world, we have the Queen of Swords with the Knight of Cups and the Ace of Cups. The Queen of Swords is the energy of someone who really knows their story and can share it. This is the individual who can I'm so sorry, guys, who can sit and share what they've been through, the lessons they've learned. This is the individual who looks back at that past cycle and says, it was difficult, but this is what I've learned about myself. This is what I've learned about my experience. And she can, in her best version of herself, share how empowered she has become through what she's gone through. In the more negative side, she can come across as very jaded. She could tell a different story than one of personal empowerment. She could tell a story instead of, I was victimized by circumstances and people. All relationships are awful, so why would I want to do that? All 9-to-5 jobs are terrible, and that kind of thing. But I get the feeling here with the Knight of Cups and the Ace of Cups. The Knight of Cups is the hopeful romantic. This is the individual who goes out there with the Ace of Cups, which is their cup. It's spiritual connection to the self. It is self-love. It is a cup that holds love. It also holds your needs, your dreams, your wants. And there's a sense here of, for many of you, I think there's a tale here of maybe a part of yourself that had gone out there almost with this naive energy of, here's my cup, here I am. And there may have been stories around that where there was wounding, where maybe you felt like, I had to keep going out there as that hopeful romantic. I had to put on my rose-colored glasses. I had to just keep going on my horse. And maybe there are moments that you felt like you were naive. You jumped into something too quickly. You, maybe you jumped into a relationship too quickly. You jumped into a role at work too quickly. You thought traveling the world was going to be the best thing, and then you realized, whoa, maybe not, whatever it is. But there's a sense here of maybe honoring now that part of yourself, or maybe you had beaten yourself up about the inner naive, hopeful romantic that kept going out into life, and maybe you kept kind of getting beaten back. And there's a sense here of, can you see how you went through that, and yet you still hold love for yourself? You still have love to give to others. And maybe now you have more possibly love to give to a future family or a current family. But there's a sense here of honoring when we think of knights, they are given kind of a quest to embark upon. And it's about honoring that quest of the heart that this past cycle has allowed you to come through. And there's a sense here of having maybe now the strength of your love. Ooh, yeah, and there it is, the Lovers and the Three of Pentacles. Yes, exactly that. There's a sense here now that your love is your strength. That is where you get the strength to continue to go on. And with the Fool and the Lovers and the Three of Pentacles, there's a chance to build something new with another or with others towards what your heart loves. That is the Lovers and the Three of Coins, or the Three of Pentacles here. The Three of Pentacles is having an eye to the future to say, what do you want to build and who do you want to build it with? There's a sense of collaboration, but there's also a sense of building something new. This is the start. This is the idea. This is people coming together and looking at the blueprints for the future building or city they're going to build down the line. but it's based on what you love. It's based on choosing what you love. And it's a new cycle that's centered around the heart and what you love, which is wonderful. Okay, let's see here with the Seven of Cups. What does Cancer need to know about the Seven of Cups? Okay, we have the Seven of Pentacles, which makes sense. So the Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups together, this is more reevaluation. There's a sense of being asked the question with the sevens of, is it worth it for me to do something? So, for instance, the Seven of Pentacles can say, is it worth it for me to continue to invest my time and energy and money in something to continue to grow it? And you notice there's a 7 to the 8. There's a sense of making that decision and committing to something. Now, with the Seven of Cups, it asks us, is it worth it for me to do that on an emotional level? Is it worth it for me to invest on that level in something? But there's a sense here, I think, for many of you of realizing that, yes, it's time. Oh, yeah, and the fountain. Oh, I love the fountain. Fountain is really about tapping into universal knowledge, but it's also about just almost surrendering to, I always see the fountain as like that scene, like one of the last scene in 2001 Space Odyssey where he's kind of going through like the wormhole and it's really trippy. And there's a sense of almost with the fountain of being able to, at the same time, see your past, see your future, see your present, and see how in this moment it's all connected. You see where that moment 20 years ago led to now. You see also the 20 years from this point, and it's almost like you realize this is you're bringing the power back to the present moment. This is where it's all created. And there's also a sense, though, too, with the fountain of surrendering to the divinity of your experience, of your destiny in a way. And really beautiful. There's a really beautiful sense of saying, yeah, I'm going to keep going. And yeah, I'm going to keep my eye out to realize that there are more opportunities out here. So we also have the Seven of Cups coming in again for the Eight of Wands. So yeah, this is a sense of that there's a lot of opportunity coming in for you. The movement is taking you out into the realm of, I gotta get the feeling of others who want to bring their cups towards you. Yeah, with the Three of Cups, there it is. Yep. Celebration, tribe, support. That's what's coming in here with the Three of Cups and the Seven of Cups, is saying there's a whole world of opportunity to celebrate with others, to go out there and join new social groups, to maybe find the love of your life. There's a sense here of a lot coming in for you on this level. And maybe you might have had this previously, and this might be a shift in these groups for yourself, where you're saying, well, I always really focused on just my immediate blood family, but now I'm going to look at the whole world as potential family. There's a beautiful sense coming in. And with the Magician as your third underlying energy, there's an even greater sense of tapping into the magic within yourself. And also another card that shows forward momentum, because we go from the Fool, which is 0, to the Magician, which is 1. This is stepping back into the power of the eye, but from a place of curiosity as to what is the new gifts I'm going to discover about myself in this next cycle, and kind of looking at everything with the fresh eyes of a curious child who is able to truly let the past be the past and is ready to move forward in a cycle centered around what you love. All right, I'm going to pull a final card here to close out your reading. This is a very beautiful energy, Cancer. I can see that for many of you, you've gone through quite a cycle. It probably felt very difficult, but you made it with your heart still intact and probably stronger and more resilient and able now to give to new groups. This could even be where you get to be the one that supports others. Beautiful. Okay, let's see. What does Cancer need to know as a last message for their reading? Ooh, quite a bit. So we will go forward here. Okay. We have surrender your need to always be right. It's always a hard one, right? It says, give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. And then we have surrender obsessive thinking. If you're obsessing about a person or situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity or even solve the problem. And then we have surrender to creativity. It says, let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. Now, I love the surrender obsessive thinking where it says, turn the dilemma over to spirit. And there's a sense here with the fountain and the 7 of coins going forward to the 8 of coins here, the 8 of pentacles, that there is kind of that surrendering feeling coming through when I said that with the fountain. There's a surrender to understanding that the energy flow is in your favor right now. Things are happening, whether you feel it or not, see it or not. If you take the leap towards a new cycle where you're having an eye to build something that comes from the heart space, what you love, choosing what you love. Where you decide to continue to dedicate your time and energy, it's going to automatically bring in what your heart is yearning for. And possibly in a new and better way. And that's always the thing I've learned with my own life experience, is that we think we can see something in the best possible vision for ourselves, especially when we're looking kind of forward looking. But how that comes in our life experience is always going to be better than what we were hoping for, because it'll be more perfect for us and more in alignment, and life is continually surprising us with those little details that we would have never expected or even knew to dream for. Now, with surrender your need to always be right, this is always, it's a hard one, because especially when we're looking at, this is our life. We want to make the decisions for ourselves. Like, how can I not be right about that? There's also a sense here, though, about I get this feeling more that this is not in relation to other people, that this is more in relation to the relationship with your current self and your past self. That you might have told yourself that this was the right way to do something. And suddenly now your life experience is showing you that there are other ways. That's the 7 of Cups. Other ways to celebrate with others, other groups you can join, other ways you can find community. And so there's almost a sense of kind of letting yourself off the hook for something that you might have previously lived by. This can even be where you told others, like, I will never do this. I would never join that group. I would never associate with those kind of people, or I'll never have a family. I'm never going to have kids because of like how I grew up. And now it's like saying, you know what? If you want to all of a sudden have kids, let yourself have kids. If you told yourself that you were the person who was never going to buy into the, 2.5 kids and the house in the suburbs, and yet suddenly that's all your heart is yearning for, well then, again, let your past version of yourself off the hook. I can say from personal experience, it's almost like every single thing I ever told myself I wasn't going to do, or I wouldn't believe in that, or who does that, I have done. I've been put in a circumstance in my life to have a change in perspective and possibly a change in heart. So really allow yourself to get to that place where you say, maybe I'm seeing things from a new way and I've just got to go with it. And then you have surrender to creativity. And I love this. Let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. And there's always a sense here with me with this card and this picture on here. It's a woman holding a mirror, and the mirror is away from herself. It's projecting outward. And yet there's a butterfly. Looks like there's a whole bunch of butterflies that are being kind of attracted towards it. And there's this sense of almost getting into that energy of the Queen of Wands here, where she attracts to her the new circumstances, the answers to the questions. She doesn't know where to look for the answers. There's that sense of kind of just really speaking from the heart, really shining, making that decision to shine in a way that is in alignment to where you want to chart a new course towards, what you want to build, and allow the world, destiny, the universe to bring circumstances, people, situations to you that you get to use your creativity and how you interact with them and allow for this new cycle to begin and allow for something new that you really yearn for in your heart to come forward. And all you have to do is really commit. Commit to this new cycle, commit to the heart, commit to the vision that's lying in your heart, and start to really perfect it in the physical. And the rest will come in. All right. I will leave it there, Cancer. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. If you'd like to book your own reading where you take a look at what your soul would most like to illuminate for you at the moment, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all in your next Soul Illumination reading. Bye, Cancer.